Unlimited.
Welcome back. After a dreary first half of the baseball season, the Texas Rangers went through another one of their magical post-All-Star break transition, and since then, especially in August, have had one of the best records in baseball. Is this just another tease, or is there some chance some of this might carry over to next year? Eric Nadel has suffered through or celebrated every inning this season as the play-by-play man for the team's radio broadcasts. He's with us for the rest of the hour while the team gets ready to play tonight in Kansas City. If you want to talk with him, we're at 214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372. Eric, welcome.
Hi, Glenn. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What are the Rangers doing in August they weren't doing in June?
It's a very good question. For one thing, they're pitching a lot better. And that is the number one issue surrounding this team, always has been, and I imagine always will be. They're scoring more runs than they were earlier, but they're also pitching a whole lot better. And that's really been the case now over a span of a month or two, as the team earned run average has steadily come down, still the highest in the league, but significant strides have been made.
By whom and for what reason, do you think?
Well, it's a matter of, in some cases, individuals turning things around.
John Thompson, for example.
John Thompson, for example, was not a very effective starting pitcher through the first 3 months of the season, has been one of the very best in the league in July and August. Moving R.A. Dickey into the starting rotation has been a move that has definitely helped. Colby Lewis has had his moments since coming back. He's had some solid performances. And the Ranger bullpen has been extremely solid. This four left-hander rotation that they've come up with has been responsible for a lot of victories. And even though the Ranger starting pitchers for the season are still averaging only about 5 innings per game, this bullpen wins a lot of games. And it's something of a no-name bullpen when you're talking about people like Brian Schaus and Erasmo Ramirez. Aaron Foltz, people were pretty familiar with from his time with the Giants and pitched in the World Series. But Ron Mayhay, a guy who bounced around with a lot of clubs, is having a terrific year too. And I think that's been a very big factor. But there's been an infusion of energy from the young players. People like Lance Nix, Jason Jones, Ramon Nivar, to go along with the guys who were already here, I think has made a whole world of difference in the aura around the club.
If you want to talk with Eric Nadel, he's with us for the rest of the hour. We're at 214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372 or gms@kera.org. It's funny talking about starting pitchers going 5 innings after having just talked with Robin Roberts about pitching complete game shutouts all the time. But actually, within the last month or so, we've seen Rangers pitchers throw complete games. It's been remarkable.
Well, it's funny. It took so long to get a complete game shutout. Over 270 games going back to last year before R.A. Dickey finally gave the Rangers a complete game shutout last time he pitched in Detroit. And that was on Wednesday. And then to have John Thompson come back and throw a complete game shutout on Sunday, maybe we do have a new trend going here.
What do the Rangers want to get a look at over the next month or so as the season winds down?
Well, I think it's a continuation of what they've started already. They want to see more of Lance Nix. They want to see more of Ramon Nivar to see, whether those are players who they want to count on at the big league level next season. In the pitching department, they need to continue seeing Colby Lewis on a regular basis. They need to keep seeing R.A. Dickey as a starter on a regular basis. A number of different relief pitchers. And then I imagine they want to see a couple of more starting pitchers, at least one, Ryan Snare, a left-hander who was acquired in one of the many deals they made. You would think will get some starts in the month of September. And just to let these guys keep playing and see how they play against contending teams, because for the most part, that's who the Rangers are playing against. And the only team really the Rangers are going to play not in contention is the Anaheim Angels, and the Rangers have their own little battle going with the Angels now for third place. Who hopefully those games will will have some significance in that regard, and it'll give the Rangers a goal to shoot for.
Do you think that not finishing last will be a real boost for these guys?
Well, I think so. I think it'll be a real boost for public perception, too. To not go into the off-season saying this team has finished last 4 years in a row. To be able to say that they have moved up. To be able to say that they finished higher than the defending world champions. I think all of that will be a boost not only for the players and the staff, but also for the fans as they look to this team and look to the future.
And just one more question, then we'll take some calls. Again, we're at 214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372. The rosters expand very shortly. Who might we be seeing coming up from AAA that will get a look in the big leagues?
Well, a lot of the players, who the Rangers would want to look at are already here.
Mm-hmm.
But one who I think will definitely be here is the catcher, Gerald Laird. He was here earlier this season. He was one of the players acquired in the big deal with Oakland last year. I think the Rangers want to get some kind of read on Laird and his readiness for the major leagues. And then I think you'll definitely see Ryan Snare, this left-hander, probably see Mickey Callaway, a right-handed pitcher who the Angels released earlier this season, but who's pitched well at AAA. As far as position players, I don't know that there will be that many.
There's no room.
The Rangers already have the people here who they want to see. Marcus Thames is another guy who, I didn't mention before, who the Rangers want to see more of, another rookie. They already have 9 rookies on this team. And, on any given day, they're playing from 3 to 5 rookies, including the starting pitcher. And to be doing that and winning games the way they've been doing in the month of August is remarkable. And it tells you something about the talent of the rookies. They're not just running young guys out there who don't have any business being in the big leagues.
Let's get some calls. We're at 214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372 or GMS at KERA.org. Rangers play-by-play man Eric Nadel's my guest, and we'll go to Patrick in Dallas. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Nadel. I think you and Mr. Catroni are the best play-by-play voices in baseball.
Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I have a question, kind of two. Number one, do you think that the minor league teams in Fort Worth and Frisco, with the success that they've had in attendance, have hurt the attendance with the Rangers? I was there on the last homestand, and there was less people there than I've ever seen. And what do you think can be done to raise the attendance for the Rangers besides winning?
Good question. I don't really think that the attendance at the minor league parks has hurt the Rangers' attendance. If so, very insignificantly. Those parks don't hold enough people, I think, to make a significant dent, to cause a significant drain. As far as how to draw people, I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not really sure how to do that. The Rangers have done a very nice job this year of creating a discount program, all sorts of different ways of getting into the game for reduced prices on concessions on a regular basis, group tickets. They have fantastic deals on group tickets. That and creating a feeling of fun at the ballpark. And they've done a very good job of that. I think the Rangers have really turned a corner in that regard this season. Even though you look at the attendance figures and they're down, I think a big part of that has to do with, the perception coming into the season after 3 straight last-place finishes. And it's hard to generate the advanced sales. It's hard to generate the season tickets coming into the season when you've had that as your background. But I think coming out of this season, with the strong finish the Rangers hopefully will have, and the exciting young players and the change in perception of the team and its future, I think things will pick up. I think the fact that the Rangers, made their move early this year to concede, if you will, that they weren't going to finish in first place, and started making deals and started acquiring players and acquired a tremendous number of top prospects. Just a great job done by John Hart and his staff. Has won over a lot of people and gotten people excited about the direction of this club and the future of this club, and the fact that they really have made a commitment to winning in the future with young players.
And there is nothing like winning to build attendance.
Well, no doubt about that.
To Beth in Euless. Hi.
Hi, yes. I think statistically that Pudge Rodriguez was one of the best catchers in the history of the game, and he really loved baseball, and he was just great for the Rangers, and then they traded him. There was really not much press about that, and even you guys as commentators have been pretty tight-lipped about that. Can you give us some insight on what happened there, and maybe we can get him back?
Well, in the case of Pudge, economics were certainly part of it. You know, the sort of contract that he was looking for was not something that the Rangers were willing to give, particularly the fact that he wanted a long-term deal. And he was at the stage of his career where the Rangers felt he would probably, run into injury problems on a regular basis. Now, to his credit, he has stayed healthy this year, but that's just 1 year. And, no other team gave him a multi-year contract. He signed a 1-year deal with Florida, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the off season. But I just don't see Pudge coming back as a fit here, especially given that the Rangers have talked about reducing payroll some. He's still going to want a salary that I don't think is going to fit into the Rangers' salary structure.
214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372 if you have a question for Eric Nadel, who might not be here next year.
Well, that's a good question. There are a lot of players on this team who were signed to just 1-year deals. You look at the two veteran pitchers in the starting rotation right now. You certainly hope that John Thompson will be here. The Rangers are going to need to go out and re-sign him or somebody to be at the top of the rotation. Ismael Valdez is a candidate to not be here. He was brought back at the end of last season after actually being traded away in August. I think the number of injuries that Valdez has had might very well cause the Rangers to shy away from bringing him back. And then as you look at the position players, I think the solid core of the team is here. The big question, of course, is Rafi. And he is a free agent after the season. And from what we've heard from the initial conversations between Rafi and Tom Hicks, there was quite a distance between what Rafi was looking for and what the Rangers were thinking. And that's certainly a possibility that he doesn't come back. And whether they can get something worked out or not, in the first couple of months of the off season or before the season comes to an end, I don't know. But if you're talking about candidates to not be back, he certainly would have to be considered one.
To Jerry, good afternoon.
How are you?
Just fine.
Good. I just wanted to say I really enjoy your announcing on the games.
Thank you.
And I'm a big fan of the radio, so this is not figuratively, but literally. I haven't watched the game in about 4 years. I only listen to it on the radio. And I was in New York for a couple of years. I had to move back, and I'm back now again here in Dallas. And what do you think of the New York announcers? I really love, I forgot his name, Jonathan?
John Sterling?
John Sterling, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get to hear them that much, but from what I do, I think they do an excellent job. John Sterling and Charlie Steiner.
Yeah, like I said, you guys do a great job, too. Do you guys get a chance to socialize? Do you guys meet up with each other during the games, or...?
Before the games, we'll usually visit with the other announcers, find out what's happening with their team. It's a real good way of finding out things that aren't necessarily in the press notes or things that you're certainly not going to be told by the opposing manager as to guys on their team who may be hurt or guys who aren't going very well, things to look for, trends that are going on with their clubs. So we'll always speak to the other team's announcers before the game, especially before the first game of a series.
Right.
Jerry,
thanks a lot.
Thanks. We're at 214-871-9010 or 1-800-933-5372 if you want to talk with Eric Nadel. When you first started, did you consciously pattern your style on somebody else, or were you just Eric Nadel all the way?
Well, remember, I came over as a hockey announcer, and I had not broadcast baseball before when the Rangers hired me to start in 1979. So in a way, I was something of a fresh slate when it came to a baseball announcer, but unfortunately, I already had a hockey style, and a style that didn't really go very well with baseball. And I was very lucky that the man who hired me and was my boss, Roy Parks, was very patient in allowing me to make the transition to the more conversational style of baseball. And I was also really lucky that my first partner was John Miller, now of Sunday Night Baseball fame, but a guy who showed me how you can use your personality, your sense of humor, to do baseball broadcasts in a little less formal manner than people traditionally were doing them at that time. And I think that was real lucky for me. And John, in a lot of ways, took me under his wing and helped show me the nuts and bolts of being a baseball announcer, as well as the fact that the human side of you, should come across. And he moved on at the end of that one season, 1979, but was an immeasurable help to me. And I grew up listening to Mel Allen and Red Barber doing the Yankee games, and to Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner doing the Mets games. But I can't really say that I patterned myself after any of them, because it was years and years from that time until I actually started doing baseball.
So what was the transition like from hockey to baseball? You got to talk more slowly.
Yeah, you had to fill a lot more time. That was the main thing. You had to learn what to do with the time when nothing's happening, which in the case of a baseball game is the majority of the time. It's what you do with those gaps, in my mind, that separates the good baseball announcers from those who aren't that good. The sort of information that you provide, the sort of insights you provide, the sort of descriptions that you can give the listener, all are things that occur during times when the ball is not in play. The play-by-play portion of the baseball broadcast was really the easiest thing for me to adapt to. It was all of that time when nothing was happening that was foreign to me and was difficult to adjust to.
That's when all that preparation comes into play.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Is there a part that you work in that is best suited to announcers?
Well, there used to be one that was just in a class by itself, and that was Tiger Stadium. The broadcast booth there was hanging from the upper deck behind home plate, so close to the screen we could actually hear things that were said on the field at various times. And you really felt you were in the game. You could see the rotation on the ball on its way to the plate. There are no longer any stadiums like that. When Tiger Stadium was shut down, that was the last of its breed. A number of the older parks were like that. Fenway Park's original radio booth was in a similar location. Cleveland in the old stadium was in a similar location. Now, when they build ballparks, the places where we used to like to be to broadcast are luxury suites. They are the prime location. And as a result, we tend to be higher and farther away than we used to be in the older parks. There are still a number of stadiums where we're lower down and closer to the plate. A lot of what we like in a booth, though, is more than just location. It's size. We've got a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of books. We use a computer for our out-of-town scores. It's the size of the counter. Some of these places, in fact, tonight is a very good example. Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. We have a great location. We're low down. But the counter there is barely deep enough to even put your scorebook on. And we've got all sorts of other information, press notes, and we keep our own note cards and notebooks and all sorts of information. And there's a TV monitor and a place for the computer, and that pretty much takes up the entire counter space. And then there are other parks where the booth is so narrow that Vince and I are literally side by side. And I'm not going to complain about any place that we work, because it's still just a dream to be in these major league ballparks. But right now, I would say that the Anaheim ballpark, Edison International Field, is one of my favorites because it's a low-down booth, and you get the feeling, again, of being closer to the action, being able to see the expressions on the players' faces. And that's something to me that has been lost over the years as some of the old ballparks have been taken down and the new ones have been built, and we're put so far back. You no longer can see that. We need to use the TV monitor more in our work, and it's a necessary evil, but something we've had to start doing as we've been placed farther and farther away from home plate.
Well, Eric, as always, you're one of the few people I envy for the job that you have, but I do. But I'll just have to get over it. Eric, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Glenn. It's always a pleasure.
Take care.
Thanks.
Eric Nadel is the play-by-play man for the... Oops, didn't mean to hang up on you, Eric. I'm sorry. He's the play-by-play man along with Vince Cotroneo for the Texas Rangers radio broadcast. You can hear him tonight in Kansas City. Quick break, and we'll be right back.